Hello and welcome to today's video. You join me here today at a very wet and miserable Mosedale village on the edge of the Lake District National Park. Today I'm hiking up to Lingly, Bothy. It is the smallest bothy in all of England. Doesn't even have a stove in, just sleeping platforms. That is where I intend to spend my night. And with the weather how it is, I'm pretty glad I'm not in a tent. The conditions are only meant to be getting worse into the night. It is a Monday evening and it's the only evening of the week I'm able to get out and do this, so it doesn't matter what the weather's doing, I'm here ready to go. The walk up to Lingly is pretty steep. It should take me around about an hour and a half, something like that, and then hopefully I can settle in for the night and see out the wind. Up on the tops, the wind is reaching well above 40 miles an hour tonight. It is going to be a proper hunker down sort of evening here in the lakes. I've got a couple of new pieces of kit out with me tonight. The biggest bit is, of course, my boots. I've changed over to a pair of Scarpa Borealis. They're an offering, go outdoors. I don't really know much about them, to be honest, other than they were kind of affordable. I like the look of them, so I've took the plunge. My innervates were dying, so I needed something, and they were £99, which seemed like enough money to be a good boot, but not too much money that it wasn't worth taking a gamble over. I'm hoping this is coming across on camera. This road is pretty flooded in places. There's waterfalls running out to the road. The road back there was basically a river, and that river looks like it could burst its banks at some point. This is crazy. The thing is, there's been so much snowfall in the last week or so up here, and now all of that is melted into the rivers, onto the roads, and it's causing, well, a lot of it to flood. It's pretty extraordinary to be this close to a river that looks like that at the moment. And pretty extraordinary too to see it on the road. How amazing. And so the tarmac continues. This has got to be the easiest walk in to a bothy I've had in a while. Suspect it may get harder, but we'll see. I'm now following up a beck called Grainsgill Beck. That doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit flooded. However, there is meant to be a crossing point somewhere further up because we need to be on that side of the valley a little bit later on. I'm hoping higher up in the course, despite the weather, it should still be a pretty easy crossing. This is the river crossing I was a bit worried about. Look at that behind me. The normal crossing point looks like it's just there. Now, it is a narrow gap, but my problem is that is a big risk to take. I don't want to end up down there. If I slip even a little bit and end up in that river, it could be game over. I think what I'm going to do is track up this stream a little bit more, see if I can get a narrow crossing point higher up the course, because this isn't going to happen. going to be the best place to cross. It's a pretty narrow section. It's pretty clear on the other bank too. I should be able to jump it now. Before heading across any river, fast flowing or not, you want to undo your rucksack straps. It means that you're not going to get taken down with it. If you do fall, your rucksack can then slip off. I'm going to take the jump. I should be okay. Oh, that's funny, man. I mean, that is not a big gap at all, you know, it's well within my leg stretch. However, when the river is roaring like that and you know the consequences ended up down there, it just raises the stakes that little bit more. But we made it across. There isn't meant to be any rain in the night, so I'm hoping that goes down a little bit. However, now I'm up here, I have got options of the way I can get down in the morning and get around this stream if I need to. That is a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. There's these just patches of snow left at this point. The amount of snow in the lakes last week was just crazy. I mean, properly crazy. Pretty spectacular at the same time. I've got some clients coming up from London in 2 days' time, and we're doing a guided tour of the lakes for them, showing them some of the best scenic photography locations for a unique project they're working on. And they were so hoping the snow was going to last, but I don't know. I'm not sure it's going to see 2 more days. Bothy is just up ahead now, and I am ready to be done for the night. It's only been a couple of hours, but walking in that rain and wind, sometimes it feels like enough. There it is, absolutely teeny tiny. Oh, that's mega. We're gonna get in, do a tour obviously, and get set up for the night. Here we go, home for the night. Oh, don't tell me there's spirits in here too. Oh, well, there we go. Literally just sleeping platforms, and obviously some festive tinsel too. Oh, what a mega little mountain hut this is for the night. First things first, I'm going to get this wet coat off. It was alright climbing up, I was getting a bit too warm, so I delayered a bit too much, and then coming up onto the plateau where it's gone really snowy, it is just starting to freeze me in those last few meters coming up here. This is a really good coat, it's a schmock, and I've had it a few years now. It needs a bit of a reproof, but it's not too bad. However, this is the piece de resistance tonight. This is my new ME down jacket, which is the warmest thing I think I've ever tried on. This should keep me nice and toasty and warm me through as well. Oh. It's one of those pieces of kit you try on and you just think, God, I've got to have that. I should say nice and warm with this on. It's like a sleeping bag on your top half. I'm going to change my trousers too because they've got wet through as well. However, I'm not going to show you that on camera. I'm starting to feel like this is the coziest I've ever been in a mountain bothy in my existence. I've got warm, dry socks on. I've got warm, dry, comfy trousers on. I've got the biggest down jacket in the world. I'm pretty toasty. I'm pretty happy. What I'm going to do now is set up my bed area, get all my stuff sort of organised and out of the way, make myself a cup of tea, and yeah, probably chill out for a bit. Let's get set up. Cup of tea made, and just in time. Temperature is starting to drop in here quite a bit, but I've got like about as much down as you could possibly have tonight, with a down sleeping bag, down jacket and fluffy socks and all the rest of it, so I'll be absolutely fine. Really pleased with my lighting. I bought a new light for this video and it seems to be lighting up the Bothy really well. Like, I'm using it for the cameras, but I'm also just using it in between. It's like having actual light in here. Obviously mountain bothies don't have electric, obviously, so yeah, it's fantastic. I'm having a little bit of entertainment with that, but I'm going to enjoy my cup of tea, warm myself up. You probably also noticed I boiled that water in a mess tin, which is like complete sacrilege, really. However, there is a reason for that. I've got an ambitious dinner coming up tonight, so I need the mess tin. I also need a giant saucepan, which I've carried up here with me too, so an ambitious meal ahead is the evening's plan. But for now, Ash can chill out for a bit, and yeah, I'll pick up with dinner in a little while. Tonight I am well excited, and that's because just to start, I'm going to make a Bothy jacket potato, followed up by cookies, which I'm going to bake in here. Now, that is optimistic, and I'm going to use sort of a bain-marie style cooking technique. I'm going to start off easy with my jacket potato, get that all cooked and sorted. Once that's done, I'm going to move on to the cookies. I cooked my jacket potato this morning to make my life easier. So that is in here. I'm not sure whether there's still... Oh, there is still a bit of warmth in that, which is fantastic. We're going to warm our beans up, put our cheese in, and hopefully it all should melt together. This is a pretty easy dinner, but it is pretty spectacular at the same time. That's where our simple mess tin comes into this. Can't beat beans in a mess tin. It does not get any better than that. Got our box of cheese ready to go. Pop that into our jacket potato, melt it all together. It should be a pretty spectacular dinner. Our beans are nicely heated through. I think we're ready to go for the full cheese bean combo in our little jacket potato. So we've got our jacket potato just in there. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to add my cheese in. Cheese added. And then we're going to go in with our beans, obviously. You can't see this, but what I am looking at is a jacket potato in a pot, and is about the best thing ever to be eating at a mountain bothy. How mega is that? I put it in my food flask because I wanted to avoid making too much mess, because I need this mess tin for my cookies in a little bit. I love it when I think up a slightly different dinner to make in a bothy or on a wild camp. We can get stuck, I think, in eating the same things all the time, or, you know, following what everyone else is eating, but actually sometimes something like a jacket potato half done at home with your beans warmed up, that's the fastest dinner I've had in a long time. That is absolutely superb. It feels really nice to be in this little shelter like this, feeling all warm and toasty and sort of cooking myself dinner and having a nice time. It's really nice when you can hear that going on outside. I love camping as well and being out in my tent. However, at the same time, I love a mountain bothy because you can be out in the middle of nowhere. You haven't necessarily got to carry loads and loads of kit, and you can just feel sort of secure, warm and safe from the elements. You've got more space too. Spread yourself out a bit, which is always nice. For dinner's grand finale, I have got something a little bit different. I don't normally do dessert or puddings on these adventures. However, with a slightly shorter walk, and I didn't have to carry any wood either, I decided that I was going to go for a little bit of an ambitious end to the evening. That ambitious end is chocolate chip cookies baked on a camping stove. Now, I know this can be done because I've done it before, but I've got to be honest, it's been a little bit of time. The way you do it is, this mix is really simple, so I'm just going to add water to this. You can use all sorts, but just add a bit of water to this. We're going to make our batter. We're then going to pop that batter into our mess tin, which is going to be lined with this grease-proof paper to make it easy to get out. And we're then going to float that mess tin in the biggest saucepan anyone's ever taken on a camping trip with them.
And the idea is that mess tin sort of sits and floats in suspension inside the saucepan. You put the lid on, and it almost acts a bit like a bain-marie, and you make a makeshift oven. This should work. It's ambitious, but it's doable. Start us off with, we're obviously going to prep our mess tin. If you really want some extra flavour, what you want to do is find one that's still got some bean juice in it. I find that a bit of bean juice really helps with your cookies. We're going to get our grease-proof baking paper, and we're sort of going to pop that inside of our mess tin like so. The reason I'm doing this part is basically to try and make it easier when I want to get these cookies out, and I'm hoping it'll protect them a little bit as well. Now, I'm not very good with instructions, however, I feel that since there's cookies at stake, it is absolutely worth reading the instructions. We need to stir cookie mix and water in a large bowl with a large spoon until a stiff dough. Spoonie teaspoon of dough, non-stick, bake for Very easy is what I've established there. Just like that. That is very easy. I'm going to use my big saucepan, which is going to be my big bowl. Let's empty our cookie mix into that. It then says we need to add 30 millilitres of water, which is 2 tablespoons. Now, I haven't got a measuring device on me. That is 2 litres of water, so I'm just going to guess. I'm going to go with less to start off with and add a little bit more if needed. That seems like it might be 30 millilitres maybe. We have our big spoon for once we've actually got a spork on this expedition, so we'll give this a mix up. I'm going to try and see if I can bring it together. I'd say, without risking adding more water and making that too wet to use, that feels pretty good to me. The real dessert is taking place right now, just raw cookie dough off my fingers. There is our ball of cookie dough just inside there, ready to be cooked on our camping stove. I think what I'll do is we'll flatten it out into a nice rectangle so it sort of fills the mess tin. What we need to do to cook this is, as I said earlier, is you want enough water so the mess tin can in effect float in like a bain-marie style setup. That floats around, and then once that's on a rolling boil, you're then going to pop the lid on like that, and that should, in theory, sort of pressure cook, steam cook, oven cook. I don't actually know how this works technically, but it does. It should cook the cookie. I suspect it's going to take about 15-20 minutes because it's going to be a slightly lower temperature than it would be in an oven, obviously. Let's get it on the stove and see if it works. Only time is going to tell on that as to whether it works or not. I've got a timer set for 20 minutes. Let's hope it does. This is the smallest kitchen, by the way, I've ever recorded and cooked in at the same time. It's really difficult to get camera angles, so if it looks kind of shit, that's why. While that's waiting to cook though, I think what I'm going to try is a bit of Kendal mint cake liqueur. Now, should you try random spirits left by random people in rants and bothies? Absolutely, you should. Especially a bottle that is already open. 24%, let's give it a go. Wow, Kendal mint cake liqueur. It definitely delivers on being a liqueur that tastes like Kendal mint cake. If it gets a bit cold tonight, I know what I might be drinking. What I'm trying to do is manage the steam inside of this thing because I don't want the water coming up and over into the mess tin too much. It will a little bit, admittedly, but not loads. It is quite tricky, so we've just got to throttle the stove. Moment of truth with our cookies. Let's see how they are doing. I have took the lid off to have a quick squeeze. Oh, camera lens is fogging up, but oh, look at that in there. A proper view of what those look like. That is a cookie cooked on a camping stove. Well, that is about as successful as you could possibly be at this. We'll go for a quick taste test. You know what? It's a little bit bready, and it's quite a soft cookie, obviously, because it's not baked like it would in an oven. But that is pretty mega. Chocolate chip cookies here in a mountain bothy, cooked on a camping stove. It never genuinely ceases to amaze me what you can do with a little bit of thought, a little bit of ingenuity. It is time for me to sign out for the night. What a fantastic dinner, what a fantastic dessert. And I have decided to finish the night with a sort of cookie-infused cup of tea from my bain-marie over there. It's been quite a fantastic day actually, and quite a fantastic afternoon and evening. I've got a pretty comfy night ahead. I've got a down jacket for my pillow. I got my down sleeping bag to keep me nice and warm, and I have yet again stolen my partner's Thermarest roll mat because I don't have one yet, which I know will keep me warm all night long. I almost feel a bit too cozy, a bit too warm, like I've had too good like the menu's been too good as well. But what a fantastic night. I've really enjoyed it, and what a fantastic Bothy too. Like, Lingly, man, this has got to be the best Bothy I think I've ever been in. I absolutely love it. But for me, for the night, I am out. Good morning from Lingly Hut. I've started the day with a stunning view out of the window, which I think I might have just showed you, or maybe I'm showing you now. Beautiful view out of the window, a cup of tea, and of course a freshly baked pan au chocolat as well. Check that thing out. Doesn't get any better than that, does it? It is time for us to depart soon. It's coming up towards 9 o'clock. It's still pretty gloomy up here, but I can't stay much longer waiting for the light to turn up, to be honest. It is that time where we do a logbook check and we see what's going on. It's a pretty nice logbook, this. It's a little bit damp, bizarrely, because it's really dry in here, but it's quite a snazzy little book, that. It looks like the last people that were in here were on the 10th of January, and they were called Andrew and someone else. I can't read the second name. Someone, they walked up from Swindale, arrived at 1 o'clock, -5, lots of snow, hard going through the snowdrifts, beautiful clear night, walked with only moonlight for most of the way. It doesn't really say there whether they stopped overnight or not. Maybe they just stopped for a little bit and then walked out in the dark. I'm not entirely sure. Sounds like a really cold night though. It looks like a pretty well visited Bothy. A lot of people are walking the Cumbria Way coming through here. They will use Lingly Hut here for shelter, so that isn't too much of a surprise. How many logs have there been this year? So there's been 4 so far this year, and it's the middle of January, which is not a lot, but for a mountain Bothy, that is kind of up there generally. There you go, second and first, completing the Cumbria Way. Mega. So I suppose most people walking the Cumbria Way probably will stop and give this log a bit of a sign. It's time for us to write our login now. It says on the front to make sure we use, it says, please use every line, don't leave gaps between entries. Many thanks, enjoy your visit. So I'll make sure to use the full page available to me, top to wherever I get to, writing my little login, and then we'll be packing up and heading out of here. I've gone with a pretty simple log this time. Enjoyed a wonderful night at Lingly Hut after a walk in from Mosedale. Very flooded on the way in, however, passable. Hiking back out this morning, Reese Garrard. I've got a couple of jobs to do before I leave here. I need to get myself packed up. Obviously, I need to make sure I sweep this place and make it as clean as possible because it was basically pristine when I arrived. I've not really made too much of a mess, but there's always bits and pieces, so I'll make sure it's nice and clean before heading out of here today. And then, yeah, we'll enjoy our wander back down the valley. It has actually cleared up and I can now kind of see what's going on. I'd love to be able to get the drone up and get a drone shot of this place, but I'm not sure the winds are going to allow that, even though my drone is very good. But we will see. You never know. So we'll give it a go and tidy this place up, get packed down, and then we'll be out of here and down to Mosedale. time has come to leave the Bothy behind, grab my rucksack and walk back down the hill. It is a stunning morning outside. It's a pleasure to be able to get to walk out of here this morning, and what a fantastic night here at Lingly. I hope you've enjoyed the video quite as much as I have. It's been a fantastic night here in the mountains, and what a spectacular sunrise just over there. Let me step into the wind for a moment. That is stunning. This has got to have been my favourite mountain bothy I've been in nearly ever. I just love it. It's simple, it's small, it was clean, it was warm. What a fantastic night here on the mountains. If you've enjoyed the video, if you've enjoyed watching it, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share, do all that crazy stuff. And one day, maybe we will have many views, but I have got the most spectacular walkout, which I'm going to enjoy this morning. I'll see you in the next one.